Hello, and welcome to this new and exciting series from me, Jem, of Featherhead Gaming. If you aren't sure which of the two loudmouths I am, I'm the one that constantly sounds like a stoner. In this series, I'm going to answer all of those burning questions about gaming that you have just been too afraid to ask up until now. As the proud owner of Scooby-Doo on the Game Boy Advance, I have reached the tier of gamer that can quite simply only be described as enlightened. But Jem, you say, this is the first episode. From whence has your conundrum come? And dear viewer, you have come to the same conclusive issue that I came to when I set out upon this philanthropic endeavour. And so, I turned to myself in the mirror and asked a question that I'm sure has burdened many of us for years. Dare I say it, some of us for decades. That question is, of course, how Mario jumps so high?
I've got a question for you, and we're coming through. Who gave Leighton his hat? Why does Link stand like that? It's Jem's Gaming Conundrums.
Jem's Gaming Conundrums.
To begin to answer such a philosophical question, we must first turn to 17th century all-round genius Sir Isaac Newton. It is Newton's theory of so-called gravity that marks only the beginning of our investigation. Newton's theory dictates that a man, who goes by the name of gravity, lives at the core of our planet, pulling on thousands of invisible chains. This is apparently the reason that things fall over. This is, of course, a theory that is in dispute when you consider the fact that the Earth is flat. Anyhow, as it's the best explanation for things falling over that modern science has come up with so far, it will just have to do. The reason why I mention Newton's theory is that it is said not only to be applicable to our fine planet, but also to every other spheroid in the sky. If this is the case, billions of clones of this aged gentleman named Gravity exist in our cosmos.
I'm sorry, this is ridiculous. How did this Newton come up with this mad theory? An apple tree. So he was concussed. Okay, well, the things people believe.
Anyway, according to a paper done by actual scientists named Acceleration Due to Gravity, Super Mario Brothers, whichever planet the Mushroom Kingdom resides upon has an extreme gravitational force. This is mostly derived because of the speed at which Mario falls. The authors of the paper state that the size of the clone at the centre of the planet is so large that it would cause mere mortals like you and I to slip into unconsciousness. So in order to find out the answer to our question, we must first identify what species Mario is. According to that very same paper, Mario himself not only manages to stay conscious in spite of the gravitational forces at work in the Mushroom Kingdom, but he also manages to jump at a height that is 5 times his own. Astounding stuff. As we do not currently possess a database of alien species that we could use to identify Mario by, the current known species of Earth will simply have to do. So the question now is, what species, or interbreeding of species, could withstand both the Mushroom Kingdom's G-force and have enough strength left over to jump such heights? Naturally, an exoskeleton must be involved somehow. According to my research, the beast of our own planet that possesses the strongest exoskeleton is actually an insect. The Onthophagus taurus is a beetle that can withstand the pressure of 1,141 times its own body weight. According to livescience.com, if this were translated to human terms, an average person could withstand the weight of 6 double-decker buses if equipped with this exoskeleton. If we divide this weight, approximately 75 tons, by Earth's gravitational pull, approximately 0.998 kilograms, we can calculate that an average human wearing this exoskeleton could withstand over 76,000 times Earth's gravitational pull. It is reasonable to assume that this is beyond the gravitational forces of even the Mushroom Kingdom. For context, the Sun has a gravitational force that is equal to approximately 28 times that of the Earth. It is undoubtable, then, that Mario must at least be part insect. Now that we know where the mustachioed plumber's iconic exoskeleton comes from, how about that superhuman jumping strength? It can certainly be said that the insect world is overflowing with beasts that can jump multiple times their own height. The strongest contender amongst them is the common flea, which can jump to a height that exceeds 150 times its own. However, This is a feat that even Mario cannot compete with. Whilst many of you may now be at your various screens yourself screaming out the obvious answer of the red kangaroo, you, however, would be mistaken, dear viewer. You see, the famous red kangaroo can only jump a measly 6 feet in the air, barely a foot over their average height of 4 feet and 9 inches. So which Terran beast can jump at 5 times their own height, I hear you ask? The most reasonable approximation comes in the form of the klipspringer. The klipspringer is the highest jumping mammal in relation to its body size, able to jump at 10 times its own height. This goat-like animal hails from eastern and southern Africa. Now, I am aware that this overshoots the 5 times body height mark, but it is reasonable to assume that Mario's exoskeleton would also weigh him down a bit. So, to conclude, we opened with the age-old question of how Mario jumped so high, and through the annals of theoretical physics and interspecies breeding, we have come, at last, to an answer. The reason for Mario's speedy descent is the Newtonian theory of gravity. It is apparent that wherever it is that Mario jumps, it is certainly not in our solar system. The planet upon which the plumber resides clearly has a gravitational force much higher than our own. In order to withstand such forces and still be able to jump so high, this must mean that Mario is the result of a laboratory experiment in which scientists spliced the genomes of the sturdy Orthophagous Taurus and the buff Klipspringer. This resulted in the horribly disfigured Mario fired into space from our planet, an outcast among the stars. He survives on the planet he crash-landed upon thanks to his iconic exoskeleton and his sheer goat-like strength. Destined to fight it out with the other abandoned outcasts, such as the Turtle Man and the Mushroom People, for the favour of the only human amongst them, Princess Peach. Well, that's all we have time for this episode, but please do not hesitate to comment below and leave behind your very own gaming conundrum. See you next time.